Tonga really took us through some ups and downs. If you remember, our introduction to the island was hardly paradisiacal, but a week with friends changed all that around. It seems Rarotonga liked them best because when they left, our luck slid back downhill.
What are you holding up, G? Did you eat something that was garbage?
I don't know. I either have food poisoning or stomach flu. I just started throwing up like nonstop. It's so gross and it hurts so bad. I'm trying to take my temperature, but of course our thermometer is corroded from the salt water.
What have we been trying to do instead? We have got
Blasting my head with a laser reader.
temperature gun. Today has been while Gina's recovering, it's been a work day for me. I am fixing what I broke. I was scraping ice off of, this is a refrigerator, off of our ice box, and I cut off this little tube and cable, looked just like this copper one, and that was our thermostat. So apparently that, I thought it was just a wire, it's actually a tube, it's hollow inside. It's got the same refrigerant as the inside of this box, and as it gets warm it expands, when it cools down it contracts. So it's actually kind of like a home thermostat. And talked to the guys next door who have a very big boat with a lot of spare parts, and they happen to have just what we needed. So they gave me the thermostat, and I'm in the process of removing and putting in the new one. I'm just kind of completing the connections here, and then hopefully we'll have a running fridge again. Lesson learned is make friends with the people around you. All cruisers are pretty well prepared, so that's good. Everybody kind of helps each other out. It's a great community.
3 days later, Jose had nursed both me and the fridge back to health, and we continued our way west to the island of Aitutaki. On the way, we realized we had dropped an outboard part in the water and were a little nervous as to our chances of finding a replacement on this remote island. We hitchhiked around the island, going to every single knick-knack shop, cafe, and front door of anyone who knew anyone who might be able to help us. Along the way, we met a mechanic who gave us a lead on the boat maker up the road who might have the part we need.
So we're, like 2 kilometers now from our dinghy boat? With no vehicle, but we're in front of a shop that has a couple of Yamahas, same fuel fitting as ours. This friendly mechanic dropped us off, and I guess we're going to wait for the owner to come back from lunch.
And why do we need this fuel fitting?
Pretty sure I left it on the back of the boat, didn't tie it down right, and it fell on the crossing. It was a bumpy ride. So we need it. We need it to run the outboard.
Yeah, our dinghy's like an extension of
Without the outboard, we can't go to and from land easily, safely.
Yeah.
Right now we just have the tube into the gas tank, but if the fuel's sloshing around all over the place, it's going to come out of the fuel tank.
Sorry, what was that?
We just gotta wait it out.
While we waited, we checked out the handcrafted aluminum fishing boats being built right there on the island. But once the heat really settled in and the mosquitoes started to attack, we walked back to the dinghy empty-handed and disheartened. We needed something to lighten the mood, and we knew just the thing.
We're doing a pass dive. We just jumped in the water and we're going really fast on our way out. This is what it looks like.
Admittedly, there wasn't too much to see during our pass dive, but it's like nature's version of a conveyor belt on high speed. We rode this ride over and over again. Holding tight onto the dinghy, we rode the current into deeper waters, and there we were in for a treat.
Dreaming of living on the beach where there's nothing but the sound of the waves crashing down. Happiness in a stick, but it's only temporary. Get a sip from my drink as I drown in the pool of the psychedelic. And I'm open to the hoping that somewhere along the line.
Aitutaki is one of the 15 Cook Islands and is the definition of remote. With limited natural resources, Aitutaki's 2,000 inhabitants heavily rely on provisions from larger islands. The cargo ships containing goods from apples to SUVs comes about once every 3 months. While we were pondering how we'd ever get our replacement parts, this cargo ship came in and gave us a bit of perspective. Oh, and a whale show too. Yeah, those were there.
That's amazing! Look how close that is! What? No! This can't be happening right now.
The next day, and 3 hitchhiking trips later, we got some news on our missing part. The bad news? The only Yamaha carrier was in Rarotonga, the island we just came from, and we certainly weren't going back. The good news? A local cafe owner had a friend in Rarotonga who could send us the part on the next local flight. Now all we had to do was
That
wait.
looks like a pretty bumpy gravel landing strip right there.
Yeah, that's the...
Hey, good thing about being out here is that we're waiting for our dinghy fuel connector parts, and apparently it's a 4:30 flight.
We'll know when it comes.
As soon as it lands, we'll know when our parts are here, and we can head back into town and get our dinghy back up and running.
So we don't have to stick our thumbs out.
Yeah, and what's crazy is if you turn around, that's our snorkel spot right there.
There we go.
Apparently this is the best spot.
Snorkel spot. Runway.
It's actually probably pretty
Snorkel
good we didn't
spot.
come on the dinghy.
Runway.
It looks like a lot of cool heads.
Yeah, it does, huh? Well, that's good for us. For now.
So, I went all the way out there. All the way out there to the edge of the reef. Thinking to myself, like, the end of the world, and like, coral reefs are all dying, and just kind of zoning out. And all of a sudden, the water's kind of murky. All of a sudden, like, boom! Out of nowhere, this fish like this big, and like,
What?
I
No.
don't even know how you fit in the water there. It just came out of nowhere, a big silver one. I've got it on camera, so we can't say I'm exaggerating. So we just met that couple who's apparently the only couple staying at this bungalow resort. And he stopped me because he was surprised to see me swimming in the water. And it's because apparently they told him not to swim in this area. Which is right next to where I was snorkeling. I'm not worried though, because where I was, it's fresh water coming in all the time. But I guess he was worried about wastewater being dumped. But I would be pretty disappointed if I came to a resort in the Cook Islands from Denmark and they told me not to go swimming at the beach, which is the whole point. Yeah, so poor guy. I felt really bad.
When our part flew in 2 days later, we were so excited and relieved to have our dinghy working again. Just to make sure, we took the dink for a cruise around the island.
Getting parts in paradise is very hard, but we finally have our fuel connectors, which means we can go long distances on our dinghy. So decided to come here. shipwreck that apparently got pushed over the reef many years ago. So we're gonna see what the snorkeling is like around here. So we had all these plans to leave. This morning it was supposed to be 5 to 10 knot winds, but it's definitely not what we're experiencing here. We're still anchored outside the reef, and I don't think we're going to be getting any ice cream from shore today. But like many sailing terms, you know, we sail where the wind takes us, literally. So I guess we're kind of stuck here. I'm a little concerned that our anchor is going to be stuck between some coral about 60 feet down. I can't dive that deep. So honestly, I don't even want to try and lift up the anchor right now. It's pretty set. And I don't know, I've just got a feeling we're in for a little disappointment, a little frustration trying to get the anchor up to go anywhere. So I'm going to sit tight, keep getting weather updates, even though they're not accurate at all. This is supposed to be 5 to 10 knots of wind. And watch some movies or make some movies. Should we try raising the anchor?
Yeah.
What's the over-under on it coming out in the first try?
I'm gonna say it's gonna come out the first try. It's just gonna require from us.
All right, so we're underway now. We had trouble with the anchor as expected. It was definitely stuck. It's not the first time we've had this problem. In Mexico, we ripped out our windlass, so we were very careful. I made sure to loosen up the grip on the windlass so that if it wants to slip, it can slip and not rip anything out. So we used a halyard this time. We attached it to the chain with the carabiner and started pulling it up. And I got to the point where it was just taut and everything's falling around right now. And what happened is the bouncing of the boat up and down eventually just caused way too much stress. We were trying not to force it, just kind of hold it a little bit. And eventually one of these shackles gave way, and two of these little bits broke off the shackle. And, well, this was on the base of the mast, attached to a block. That ripped off. So we just kind of attached a snubber back onto the chain and just kind of pulled it up a meter at a time, little by little, Gino was at the wheel, did a phenomenal job. It's really hard because the wind gusts are coming and they're moving the boat one way or the other, and we can't really afford to be depending on that anchor at that time. We need to be able to keep the boat in one place and not let the wind gust move us around. It'll just yank the bow off the boat, literally. And now we're sailing. We figure, you know, if we're gonna get stuck somewhere, we might as well get stuck while we're moving. And it's definitely blowing out here. We've got just a very little bit of our sail up, enough to keep us moving at 5-6 knots. Trying to keep it as comfortable as possible so we can, I guess, watch some movies. What else is there to do? We'll keep our gopher hole watch, as we call it, just keep popping out every couple minutes, and try not to get seasick. And we really just hope our autopilot behaves on us today. We don't want any problems. So we're headed to Palmerston. If the weather doesn't cooperate, we'll just go to Beveridge Reef. Palmerston is 200 miles away. Beveridge Reef is 450 miles away. We'll see. We just go where the wind blows.